Welcome to Alignment by Tuva. This is the podcast for anyone who is done managing their life from the outside and is ready to actually feel it from the inside. I am Tuva, I'm your host, somatic coach, and nervous system nerd. And every week we go deep into the science and the soul work and the daily practices that help you come home to yourself. Not the version of you that has it together, but you, the actual you. And if you're new here, I'm really glad that you found this space. And if you have been here for a while, you already know we don't do surface level, we go all the way down. Today's episode is one I have been sitting with for a long time. It is personal, it is also scientific, and I think it is going to speak directly to a very specific kind of person. It will speak to the kind of person who is doing everything right and still feels like something essential is missing. I will call this episode The Return, and it comes with a 30-day framework that I'm going to walk you through today. 4 weeks, 4 themes, 1 daily practice per week. It is designed to bring you back to the thing that high performance can quietly steal from you. Your aliveness. I want to start by describing someone, and I want you to honestly notice whether you recognize this person. This person is capable, like genuinely deeply capable. They are the ones who get things done, who shows up, who delivers, who people call when something actually needs to happen. They are organized and they're driven, and they move through the world with a kind of momentum that looks from the outside like everything is just working. And then they get sick. A cold, a virus, something their body has clearly been holding back until it had enough. And do they rest? I mean, really rest. The way a body needs to rest, like horizontal, unscheduled, doing nothing. No. They make soup. They reorganize something. They plan the next week. They bake because baking feels productive, but not too productive. So maybe it counts as rest. They go for a walk because at least that's a little bit of movement. They answer a few emails because they are already on their phone. And underneath all of that, there is still this quiet hum of discomfort, like almost anxiety that comes not from the illness, but from the stillness, from the thought that if they stop, even for a day, something will slip, something will fall behind, something will mean that they are less. I know this person because I was this person. I remember being sick, like genuinely sick, the kind where your body is sending a message so clearly it almost has language, and still finding a reason to be in the kitchen. I was still planning the week ahead, still producing something. Not because anyone expected it of me, not because the world would have noticed if I had simply stayed in bed for 1 single day. No, but because stillness felt so threatening in a way I didn't even have words for. Because somewhere along the way, I had tied my sense of okayness, like my sense of worth, to my output. And output had become the only thing that felt like solid ground. And here's the thing that I want to say to that version of me, and maybe to you. You had not drifted because you were ambitious. You had drifted because no one taught you that being and doing are not the same thing. That rest is not laziness dressed up in a nicer word. That your capacity, like the real kind, the kind that creates and connects and feels alive, does not come from pushing through. It comes from coming back. And I know this now, and not just because I lived it, but because the science is so clear on this, it almost made me angry when I first understood it. Angry that no one had told me this sooner. So let me tell you. There is a concept in stress biology and neuroscience called allostatic load. And I promise I will make this land in a way that feels relevant to your actual life, not like a textbook. Your body has a stress response system. It is brilliant. It was designed to help you meet a challenge, a deadline, a difficult conversation, a moment of danger, and then recover. The stress response, it activates. You rise to meet a thing, and then the system comes back to baseline. That rhythm, activation and recovery, is how the human body was designed to function. Allostatic load is what accumulates when the recovery never fully happens. When you are always on, always doing, always managing the next thing before the last thing has fully landed. When your nervous system never gets to complete the stress cycle, never gets to exhale all the way, and the charge starts to accumulate quietly, below the level of your awareness. And over time, that accumulation, it begins to cost you cognitively, emotionally, physiologically, in ways that are very subtle at first, and then suddenly they are not subtle at all. Think of your nervous system as a phone battery. You're using it constantly. Calls, apps, full brightness, GPS is running in the background, you have 15 tabs open, and every night, instead of charging it to 100%, you charge it to 60, then 55, then 48. The phone still works. It functions. You would never look at the phone and say that the phone is broken. But its capacity, what it can actually do before it needs to be plugged in again, is shrinking. It is shrinking day by day. That is allostatic overload. And high-functioning people are uniquely vulnerable to it, precisely because they are so good at functioning. The phone keeps working, so they keep using it, and they do not notice the battery percentage dropping until the day it suddenly hits zero, or until the body makes them notice, whichever comes first. Now, here's the layer that changed everything for me. Your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain responsible for creative thinking, emotional nuance, strategic decision making, and also the ability to feel genuine pleasure and to access intuition and to be fully present in any conversation. That is the first region to go offline under chronic stress. Cortisol, which is your primary stress hormone, when it stays elevated over time, it literally inhibits prefrontal activity, and it suppresses the very neural tissue that makes you most you, which means the version of you that operates under chronic activation, like that high functioning, always producing, never fully resting version, it is operating with reduced access to the capacities that makes you exceptional, like your depth, your creativity, your ability to feel moved by something, your presence with the people you love, your instinct, all of it running on a diminished signal. You're no longer accessing your full self when you are in this mode. You're accessing a high-functioning version of your survival self. And those are not the same thing. This is what I mean when I say high-functioning can be a hiding place. Not from the world, but actually from yourself. From the slower, quieter, more essential version of you that does not produce anything and does not need to. The one that simply is and feels and knows things without having to think them. Rest, real intentional nervous system level rest, is not the opposite of capacity. It is the source of it. I experienced this so viscerally. The more I genuinely rested, the more I had, the more spacious my thinking became, and the more alive I felt inside the work I was doing instead of just moving through it. That is not a wellness affirmation. That is biology, and it is the entire foundation of the return. So, what is the return? It is not a detox. It is not another productivity framework in software clothing. It is not about dismantling your ambition or your drive. Those are genuinely yours, and they are not the problem. The problem is never that you care too much or want too much. The problem is doing it from a place that has quietly run dry. The return is the process of coming back to aliveness, back to the version of you that exists beneath the performance and the output and the identity that you have built around your doing. Like the one who feels things fully, who has access to joy that is not earned, and who can sit in a room without feeling the silence, who is interesting to themselves. Think of it this way. You have been away, not physically. You have been showing up. You have been present in all the external ways. But the part of you that is most essential you, the part that is curious and soft and genuinely alive, has been running in the background, just waiting. And the return is the practice of coming back to it. And not in one dramatic moment of transformation, but over 30 days, one layer at a time. 4 weeks, 4 themes, and they build on each other the way layers of a return would. You cannot rush to aliveness without first establishing safety. And you cannot access truth without first building a presence. Like the sequence matters. So I will walk you through it. Week 1, safety. It is teaching your nervous system that stillness is not a threat. The first week is the foundation of it all. And I want to be honest with you about why we start here, because it is not the most exciting place to begin. I know that safety does not sound like transformation. It doesn't sound like the thing that is going to change your life. But what is true is that you cannot return to aliveness from a nervous system that is running in threat mode. That is physiologically impossible. When your brainstem perceives danger, even the low-grade ambient danger of chronic stress, of never stopping, or of a body that has learned that stillness means something is wrong, it will just override everything else. It will override every intention, every insight, every moment of wanting things to be different. The system is just designed to prioritize survival above all else. So before anything else, we teach the body that slowing down is safe, and not the mind, the body. Because the mind already knows this. You have probably read the books and listened to the podcast and understood the concept of rest. The mind is not the problem here. The nervous system is the problem. And the nervous system does not respond to information, it responds to experience. Your daily practice this week is 5 minutes of extended exhale breathing. Every morning before you open your phone, inhale for 4 counts, exhale for 8. That is it. Nothing else is required. What this is doing physiologically is that your exhale, it activates the parasympathetic branch of your autonomic nervous system. It directly stimulates the vagus nerve, and that is the primary pathway of your body's rest and digest response. So when your exhale is longer than your inhale, you're sending a signal through the body that the threat has passed and that it is safe to land. And you're starting with this and doing this before the world gets its signaling first, before the phone, before the notifications, before the day begins to make its own demands. 5 minutes every morning. That is week 1. And alongside the breathing, I want you to begin to notice. And just notice, not fix. Notice the moments in your day when you feel the urge to fill silence with doing. When you reach for your phone the second you have a free moment. Or when you cannot sit in a waiting room without finding something productive to do. Notice when rest feels like it needs to be justified. And just see it. Awareness before action, that is always where the work begins. Week 2. Presence. This is about coming back into your body and out of your head. Once there is some basic safety in the system, and really 1 week of morning breathing generally begins to shift things, even if it feels small. So week 2 is about presence, because most high-functioning people, they live almost entirely in their heads, planning the next thing while the current thing is still happening, anticipating, evaluating, optimizing, and managing. The body is something they carry around, something they manage through exercise and nutrition and a sleep schedule, but it's not something they actually inhabit. It's not something they listen to. So week 2, we go into the body very gently, not through intense physical practice, but through attention. Your daily practice is a 5-minute somatic body scan. Once a day, at whatever time makes sense for your life, you close your eyes, you drop your attention out of your head and into your physical body. And you simply ask, what am I genuinely feeling right now? Not what am I thinking, not what should I be feeling, but what is here? Tightness in the chest, heaviness in the shoulders, a jaw that has been clenched for so long it feels normal. Whatever is there, you notice it. You do not fix it, not analyze it, or don't add anything to a list. You simply acknowledge it. And there is a term in neuroscience called interoception. This is your capacity to sense your own internal body states, to feel what is happening inside you in real time. And research consistently shows that interoceptive awareness is directly linked to emotional intelligence. So the more connected you are to your body's signals, the more information you actually have access to. And high-functioning people often have very low interoceptive awareness. And not because they are disconnected as people, but because they have spent years learning to override body signals in service of output. They literally live by, I'm tired, but I have a deadline, override. I'm hungry, but I'm in a meeting, override. I'm sad, but need to stay functional, override. And slowly, over time, the signal gets quieter. And not because it stopped sending signals, but you stop being able to hear it. So week 2 is about turning that signal back on. 5 minutes a day, eyes closed and body first. Week 3 is truth. Like what you actually feel, what you want and need beneath the performance. And week 3 is where it gets more tender. And I want to prepare you for that because this is often the week where people want to skip ahead or rush through it or intellectualize it rather than actually do it. Because once you are in your body, once you are present to what is actually there, you begin to hear things. You hear the things that the business was keeping quiet, like the relationship that has been draining you, but you haven't wanted to look at it directly, or the work that you are in that stopped feeling meaningful months ago, maybe even longer, or the thing you have wanted to say to someone or to yourself that just keeps finding reason not to be said, or the grief that you have been carrying in the gaps between the tasks, and very often the rest you have needed for longer than you want to admit. This is not a crisis. All of this is information. Your nervous system has been holding it and waiting for a moment when it feels safe enough to surface. And the first 2 weeks of this practice have been creating that safety. So now it arrives. So your daily practice this week is one honest sentence. Every day in a journal or in your notes app or on a scrap of paper you immediately throw away, it does not matter. Like you write one true thing about how you're actually doing, not how you are managing it, not your plan for addressing it, not the reframe, just the truth in one sentence. Raw and direct and your own words. That could be, I am exhausted and I do not want to admit it, or I miss the person I was before I got so busy being successful, or I do not know what I actually want anymore outside of achieving the next thing. Whatever it is for you, one sentence every day. From a nervous system perspective, this is the integration phase, and this is the phase when the signals the body has been sending finally receive acknowledgement. When the system feels genuinely heard, like the charge that has been held in the tissue, it begins to release. The bracing softens, the holding loosens. Maybe not all at once, but it begins. And this is not therapy, though it might surface things that deserve therapy. This is the practice of being honest with yourself as an act of care, of saying, I am here, I am listening, and whatever is true for me right now is allowed to exist. Week 4, aliveness. This is the returning to what makes you feel fully here. Week 4 is the reason for all of it. And aliveness is not the absence of stress. It is not the absence of ambition or drive or the desire to create and build and grow. It is the presence of genuine engagement with your life, with the people in it, with the work that actually matters to you, and with the moment you are actually standing in right now. It is the feeling of being fully here. Not performing here, not managing here. And most high-functioning people, they know success. Fewer know aliveness. Because aliveness requires presence, and presence requires safety, and safety requires the first 3 weeks of this practice. You cannot shortcut to it. You have to earn it through the body, not through the mind. Your daily practice this week is one moment of unoptimized pleasure every day, not earned, not the reward from completing something, not scheduled into a slot between 2 productive things, just chosen freely because it makes you feel alive. It might be 5 minutes of a piece of music that moves you, played very loud, with your eyes closed, doing nothing else, or a meal eaten slowly with no phone, actually tasting what is in front of you. That's what I love. I love food. Or a conversation that goes nowhere useful and is entirely pleasurable because of it's just being there. Maybe a walk with no destination, no podcast, no step goal. Just a sensation of your body moving through the world. Just something that has no output, no metric, no point, except that it makes you feel something. Because here is what I want you to understand about aliveness. It is not waiting for you at the end of your to-do list. It is not the reward you get when you finally achieve enough. It is available right now, in the smallest moments, if you are present enough to let them land. And by the end of week 4, the practices from the previous 3 weeks are still running underneath. Safety through breath, present through the body, and truth through honesty. And now, aliveness through intentional pleasure. All 4 running together. That is the return in its fullest. I want to close with something I need you to actually hear. You have not drifted because something is wrong with you. You have drifted because you are someone who cares deeply, genuinely about showing up, about doing things well, and about the people and the work and the life you are building. And no one taught you that showing up from depletion is not strength. It is a slow erosion of your capacity, yes. But more than that, of your sense of self, of the quiet, essential aliveness that does not produce anything and does not need to. The return is not a break from your life. It is the practice of coming back to the person who is living it. More present, more regulated, more genuinely full. Not so you can do more, though you will, but so that what you do and what you give comes from a place that is actually alive. Here's where you start. This week, week 1, 5 minutes of extended exhale breathing before you open your phone. Every morning, inhale for 4, exhale for 8. That is the whole practice. Do it every day for 7 days and just notice. Notice what shifts in how you feel when you sit down to work. Notice what shifts in how you respond to the people around you. Notice what opens up when you give your nervous system those 5 minutes of safety before the world begins. And then come and tell me about it. Come find me on Instagram at Alignment by Tuva. I read all of your messages and I genuinely want to know where you are in this. If this episode landed for you, share it with someone. You know exactly who needs to hear this. You know the person who is doing everything right and still feels like something is missing. This might be exactly what they need. Thank you for staying with me, and until next time, stay aligned, stay curious, and most important of all, stay true to yourself.